My lovely, 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 lovely podcast listeners. What the fuck is going on? Man, I was gonna set it up, make it all professional and shit. And I'm gonna, when Cheese gets back, because he went somewhere and went to this thing. I forgot what he told me it was, but we're gonna figure out all the deets when he gets back. I can tell you that right now. I'm walking through the woods again, as you can see. Fucking beautiful out here. No fucking hoodie, no sweatpants. It's surprising to me too, because I was gonna go to Walmart because I had forgotten some pants and decided, you know what? It's time to grow the fuck up. It's time to face this fear that I have of coming out into nature, just open, with no protection on the skin. Just come the fuck out of here. What's so fucking scary, man? There's nothing to be afraid of. And I've been having a lot of revelations the past few days, and even as I say that, it's kind of a crazy statement because, listen, okay, this is gonna sound really weird, ladies and gentlemen, but I got it all figured out now. Like, not Cody Kiss. Cody Kiss, that's me, obviously, right? I'm the one talking. That's, like I said, it's gonna sound really weird, but on the dimensions we have, I feel like, unlike the spiritual, we got the mental, we got the physical. That's what I believe. I've talked about them many times. I think that spiritually, I found the right spot. And it's so fucking obvious. All the things I've been reading, all the things I've been doing, all the stuff that I've researched to get to this moment. And it didn't even need to happen. Well, it did need to happen. That's the paradox. Because if you want to believe in this, like Christians call it soul, the Buddhists call it Atman, whatever you want to call this divine essence that I feel that we all have inside of us. That's the thing. Thinking has nothing to do with this, okay? That's the problem with our society. And I know that makes no sense, all right? But listen, okay, if anybody has been really sad, right? If you've been, like, depressed, right? There's going to be a statement that comes up in your brain, I can't live with myself, or I want to kill myself, right? And that happens quite a bit, where you say I and myself in the same statement, or some variation of that. You know what I'm saying? And that implies itself that there's two beings separate in your brain. The I, and then the self that you cannot live with. Right? And so, that would imply that you're not your mind. And psychedelics show you that. Certain substances. And we're going to get to that in a second. I have another fucking thing to say about that. But so that just proves that on this physical dimension, we need this body. We need this mind to fucking interact with all of this. Without it, we'd literally just be everywhere. That's what consciousness is, isn't it? It's in everything. It's everywhere. So without this meat suit to basically put lenses on this realm that we call reality, we wouldn't be able to experience it like we are right now. Because think about this. I was thinking about this the other day. A bug flew in my ear. Okay. I was thinking about this the other day. So, awareness, right? That's what I'm talking about. That's the presence. That's what we are. We're now. So our mind tries to play tricks on us in the sense that it likes to reminisce on the past, good or bad, or it likes to project us into the future, right? That's not us. And we make a self out of it. It's like, if you did something fucked up, right? Like, let's say, what have I done fucked up? I hurt a really cool woman that I admired, enjoyed her company. I loved her in every sense of the word, I think. Or at least I thought. And that was the problem. Love is not something you can think about. Love is something it's an experience. It's not something to put into words. It's ineffable. And so you just have to exist within it. And that's the present moment. There's no future because the future is just an imagined moment in your brain from right here. There's no past because the past is just a memory trace that got stored in your brain of the moment right now back then. It's all right now. Has there ever been a point in your life that has not been right now? Just saying that statement alone, you realize, no, it's always been right now. How the fuck have I ever had a moment that is not right now? There was no 20 years ago. Yeah, it happened in our mind. In our monkey brain, we keep track of time, right? We fucking think 20 years ago, what was I doing? I was 1 year old, I was a baby, all right? But that's the hard part. And that's what helps with meditation. I described meditation the other day. I had this thought while I was doing it. That meditation is like you're waking up in a dark hallway, right? And this hallway's long as fuck. It's completely pitch black. There's furry animals fucking all around you. You can hear them. They're fucking crawling on you. You feel shit rubbing against your legs, rubbing against your body. You're laying on the ground. You feel shit running across your chest. You fucking jump up. You're scared as fuck. You're like, You're just freaking the fuck out, right? And then the fear subsides, right? And then you fucking realize, okay, I need to get moving if I'm going to survive in this dark hallway, okay? And so you start making your way down this hallway. This hallway's long as fuck, dude. Like, the longest hallway, like, unnecessarily long. Nobody needed to build this shit this long. But it's long anyway, right? That's what this tattoo is about. That's what this tattoo means. It is the path to enlightenment for humans. And it's the long, fucked up path that we gotta get to. But we're gonna get to that in a second. So, you make your way down this hallway and you find a light. And when you get closer and closer to this light, you realize that what you were afraid of and what you were terrified of, you were kicking these things around, you were beating on them because you were scared, and your anxiety was running around. And what you realize when you get to this light is that these animals were just bunnies all along. And so every time you wake up in this hallway, the light keeps getting closer and closer, and I better slow down. I was about to jump ahead. The light gets closer and closer. So then one day you wake up in this hallway and you realize, oh, they're just bunnies. And you start loving them. And you start hugging them and tending to them. And that's what meditation is. Because the hallway is you, right? You're inside yourself. And then your thoughts are the bunnies. They're fucking terrifying when it's dark. You don't know what the fuck they are. And that's what most people live in, is the darkness. We live in that mind space where we think our thoughts are us. And that's why we attach ourselves to them and make a self out of them as if they are us. But they're not us at all. Our thought is just a tool that we developed over time to help humans get to this point. It's not something that is us. It just is. That's what we are. We just are. And so what else? The light is your consciousness. Every time you meditate and go within yourself, within that dark hallway, those bunnies get more illuminated. And you're like, wow, these aren't scary. These aren't fucking terrifying. It's just my thoughts. And I'm not scared of them anymore. And you just fucking get better at it. And then you could start treating your thoughts with love and care like they need it all the time. And that's what we are. That's how you use your mind correctly. Because if you think about it, it's pretty insane. And nobody chooses to be insane willingly, right? That's why it's a disease of thought. We think too much. And that's the disease. But nobody would choose to be insane. But it is insane to be right here while simultaneously thinking about where you want to be in 20 years. And that's not saying you shouldn't have goals, you shouldn't have dreams you're striving towards. But That is insane, is it not? Because you're denying where you're at right now on this fucking path and on this journey of life. And if you're denying that moment, you're denying yourself. You're denying who you are. And that's why most people can never find themselves, because they're going to churches and they're going for books and they're going for all these different things. But all you have to do is look within yourself. And I know it's like a cliche thing to say. It's like, oh, everybody says it. Like, all you got to go is within, all this nonsense. But I'm saying this from a guy that has never in my life believed in spirituality or a soul until the last few years. That's why I say I was a hardcore scientist. Obviously, I wasn't a scientist as a kid. But I saw myself as a scientist. And I would experiment with myself, with things around me. I was basically an amateur little scientist, and I'd think about it, and then I'd research what the fuck I saw. And I'd do all that stuff basically like a scientist would. And unless it could be tested or proven with facts, I did not believe in it. But after experiences and experiences and experiences of the same thing, it's tangible. It is here. The mental peace everybody's looking for. It is there. It's right inside ourselves. And with work to your body and your mind and your spirit, the things I've been saying, and I know I've been saying it for months and a year now. I've been making this podcast and I've been saying that shit. But I didn't really feel it till now. Like, I'm in a completely different headspace than I was before. And it's the clearest headspace I've ever been in my life. I think my thought is so clear and precise and clean cut. And I don't need substances to do that anymore. I don't need nicotine. I don't need marijuana. I feel just fine just being in myself, dude. I don't need anything. Sure, I still use nicotine. I may smoke a little here and there, but I don't need them anymore, and I know that. I'm not attached to these things anymore, and I'm not attached to these thoughts in my head as me. And it makes me realize that woman that I speak of and that I used to talk about, I don't know if I ever I'm never going to say her name, just because I don't want her involved with what I'm doing, just out of her sake and respect for herself, because I don't know what she wants. I don't know any of what the fuck goes through. Like, what she is trying to do with her life, maybe I'd interfere with that. That's not my place. But it makes me realize that this woman was in this state all the time because she was a musician. She was a painter. She was an artist in almost all facets. And that requires you to be in the present moment and to be creative. Because creativity comes out of this. It comes out of the present moment. That's how I've been able to do these podcasts and do so many, is because I'm always here and I'm not. That's where all the dog-ass podcasts come from. Is when my body and my mind and my spirit are here, but my body and my spirit are here, but my mind is somewhere else. That's when the dog-ass podcasts come out. Okay? And then it led me to this other idea. And this is going to be a crazy podcast, so follow along. It led me to this other idea that, and if anybody knows, to the extent, like, if you research stuff and you know, like, you've done your own research, you want to fucking steel man me in the comments, you want to go against my thought, be like, that doesn't sound right to me because of this. As long as you give solid, reasonable argument, I want to hear that shit. Because I want to know. I heard a weird noise. I want to know where my thought could be improved and where I'm thinking poorly. But think about this. So you take awareness. If that's the presence, awareness, presence, consciousness, say that's all the same thing, right? Because think about this. So it's like a triple layered thing going on in our brain, right? Because you've got your base instinct, your animalistic nature, right? And then you've got the awareness of that animalistic nature to where you witness it as just a presence witnessing that nature do its thing. And then you go above and beyond that to be a witness of that witness. So consciousness witness based instinct, and then it witnesses itself, and that means it's reconnecting with itself, right? And so people are going to think I'm nuts if they hear me. That's why I'm looking around. Let's walk this way. So if I ever go quiet, it's because I'm passing somebody, and I'm not going to talk while I'm passing somebody. But we're going to go on Badlands loop. But, just give me a moment. So, you put that on a scale. Self-awareness being intelligence, right? If awareness is intelligence because you're becoming aware of that which you are not, and that gives you intelligence over what you are, so you can become something else, right? And think about this. That might have been what separated us. This isn't what I was going to say, but this is what I'm going to say, is that could have been what separated us from other primates, is we found something that gave us more self-awareness than they did. So much self-awareness that we realized we are not these base instincts, and it radically shifted our ideology and allowed us to transform not only ourselves, but the environment around us, right? And so you take that self-awareness as intelligence and you put that on a scale system in our human brain, right? Just to understand, right? Base instinct at the very bottom. That's the animalistic nature. That's what you're born with. That's just a fly flying on shit. He's not really considering what he's doing. He's just fucking flying around, fucking doing what flies do. And we can do that too. All animals do it. Unless you're aware of what you're doing and have that level of awareness, right? So, base instincts at the very bottom. And then you scale that to us, right? Awareness of self. And then you scale that up more. Awareness of consciousness, which is awareness of the watcher of self. So, I, which is our animalistic body, our mind. That's what's in this physical realm. Then you got yourself, which is the watcher behind that brain, right? Because we watch our brain, and a lot of people forget that it's not you. Because it holds all your identity, but we're not that identity. Because think about it. If you just give me 1 minute. We think that we are what we were like every day till now. But the only thing that's been morphing is what's on the outside. Our brain's gotten bigger, our body's gotten bigger, but the essence of who we are has always remained the same, right? So you go back to that scaling analogy. Base instinct, self-awareness, awareness of that self, which is awareness of consciousness, which connects it back to each other, which then you scale it up one more. That's awareness of all. That's God, is it not? Awareness of all things. And so does that mean that self-awareness, consciousness, presence, whatever you want to call that, that's God? And that is realizing that piece of God within us. And I'm not trying to sound like a preacher. I'm not trying to like be like, oh, you need to go and fucking, bathe in holy water and fucking quit jerking off and quit doing. No, that's not what I'm here to say. I'm just saying that it's within us. And it's been within us the entire time. But then I had this other idea, which is insane. I said that monkeys gaining more awareness than other tribes may have been what caused our shift in ideology and consciousness, right? If you think about it on a physical level, what causes a chemical brain or a chemical organ to change? That's the biggest mystery in the fossil record. How did the human brain double in size from it's like 200,000 years to 2 million years? It's a wide gap. That's how science works. But because we never really know. But how did it double so fast compared to other primates? Because we branched off, became this completely different thing, and somehow we got ahead of these other primates, so far so that we started manipulating, creating vehicles, creating computers, creating this cellular device that I'm talking on. And so my thought and my theory, I guess it's a hypothesis, I guess it's a theory. It's a theory because I've tested it myself over the course of all these all these years doing substances. All the substances that I was fucking myself up with before. I just found out today I was on Vyvanse as a kid. My mom told me that. It was because I took her out for her birthday for a lunch, and somehow we got to the conversation of me being a kid, and I had remembered this time, and I think I've talked about this when Chance was on here, but there was this time that me, my cousin, and my brother had planned to go and stay in our camper, which is out in our front yard, and I had no reason to be worried, no reason to be scared. I was excited all fucking day for it, man, because I was like, hell yeah, we get our own place to sleep, the parents aren't there, we're not going to be bothered, I get to go chill. And then I took my medicine that they had prescribed me at the time, and I was so sad, dude, like depressed as fuck, and I got scared of that depression, I think, now realizing it from this perspective, because it was such a sadness, such a deep, 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 deep-seated sadness that thing gave me, that and thinking about it now, I'm sorry, I'm thinking while I'm talking, but thinking about it now, it probably gave me that level of sadness because it probably just completely overloaded my dopamine system. Little kids are they got tiny dopamine brains. They're happy about everything. Everything's new. Everything's exciting. So you throw a bunch of fucking dopamine into that, you're going to overload it immediately, and it's going to crash. And so I'm assuming that's what happened. But then I got super scared of that sadness inside of me, and I would not leave my mom's side that night. And she remembered, and she had told me it was Vyvanse. And I was like, holy shit, it's literally meth. Vyvanse is literally meth. And they gave that to me as a 7 or 8 year old child. And I'm not saying that from a perspective of like, these guys are pieces of shit. We should burn it all down. No, none of that nonsense. But that is medical malpractice. Giving that type of fucking amphetamine, that strong stimulant, to a little child? Are you serious? And that makes me wonder something, actually. Why we can give these kids these stimulants and these antidepressants and all these fucked up substances, but we can't give them like a microdose of marijuana, or maybe a super small dose of psilocybin for depression. Like, give them something that is natural, effective, and has been proved to be safe and effective. That's what they keep saying. Safe and effective, safe and effective. But it's not safe and effective. But my point was that I realized the other day that all these chemicals are just like glasses or hearing aids, right? For a chemical organ. Sometimes we need glasses to help us see. Sometimes we need hearing aids to help us hear. Sometimes we need wheelchairs to help us get around, or amputees need fucking prosthetics to help them move. But that's exactly, and you don't need it all the time, right? You don't need glasses all the time. You don't need a hearing aid all the time. But it certainly helps when you need it. And so that was my thought for substances. Substances are tools. Tools for the chemical organ we consider, or the chemical organ we call the human brain. And not only that, it may have been the first tool ever used by humans, and that's how I knew about the stoned ape theory before, but that's how I got to that conclusion without the stoned ape theory, is that that has to be the first tool we ever utilized. It's a chemical, natural on the planet. You put it in your chemical organ, it alters your perspective or perception in some way, and then you start acting and behaving in different manners of being. And then you think about, once that happens, you realize I can utilize my environment through self-awareness and these chemicals to build other things to help me survive, right? And that's where a stick or a stone on a stick comes from, a spear. Because you're like, oh, if I put this rock onto this stick and wrap it around and sharpen it, then I got a weapon. And I can kill things with it. And it's so much easier. And where was I? I forgot my train of thought. What was my train of thought? That would cause us, not only would it cause us to become self-aware, and if you do it with a group of people, we all become self-aware and have an experience together, that's what would form a civilization, or a tribe, a bigger tribe than maybe a monkey would form, or a chimp. And then that would form, you'd be like, if these plants and substances were the key to what helped you get to this point, you'd want to start cultivating them and growing them close to your houses and stuff. And so you'd start agriculture and you start manipulating your environment to fucking grow food around you. And then not only would you have substances, but you'd have food around you. And you could keep this up and keep building it. And that would solve all these like inconsistencies in the fossil record. And then you wonder, well, why would we not know that already? Why wouldn't we have tested something or done the research or figured out that this was the cause? Well, that's because they've been illegal for the last 50 to 60 years. And even medical research has been banned on these things. And then you're like, whoa, how, like, it seems like common sense. What would cause a chemical organ to change? Chemicals. Naturally occurring chemicals. This does that. And then we experiment with ourselves. Medicine men come out of that. Men who know which chemicals do what can be done. And then that's where a doctor comes from. You go to this person, medicine man, the doctor, and you're like, I need something for this pain or something. I heard a duck or something. I need something for this. And they give it to you because they have the knowledge. That's where that comes from. It's blowing my own mind because I've never considered this stuff before. I gotta check myself for ticks a little bit. But I'm gonna walk back a little bit because we only got about 10 minutes left to do this thing. But yeah. But that's my main point of this podcast. Is that all the things I've been saying, and I'm not saying that you should follow it because I say it. Who gives a fuck what I have to say, right? Who cares? Nobody. Nobody cares. But it's things we should be doing regardless if somebody's telling us or not. You should be taking care of your body. Exercise, eating well, sleeping well, hydrating well, not over-abusing your brain. There was a story that I found out. I think I said this on a previous podcast with Chance, but there was a guy who used to tour on the road with Sam Kinison, and he did so much coke with Sam Kinison over a few months that he started hearing voices in his head. That's terrifying. You don't want that. You don't want that. Start hearing voices in your head, all right? So you don't want to start abusing your brain. Trust me, that's coming from somebody who used to do it. I used to abuse the fuck out of myself. I didn't know what I was doing at the time. And through self-realization and self-education and self-improvement, I've realized this stuff over the course of this time and from practice and experimentation on myself. And that's what I'm trying to bring to this. And that's what I realize I have to give. Not me as me, but I have to give myself in this form what nobody else has. Nobody else has me. Nobody else can be me. That's what's so liberating and empowering about being yourself. We're always so threatened by other people, and we're always comparing ourselves to things around us as if it matters what we look like compared to this guy. Oh, this guy's got a fucking Corvette and I got a fucking shitty truck. What the fuck? No. Who cares? What were you before you had that shitty truck? You didn't have a vehicle. Compare yourself to that. That's what our memory and that's what our prediction for the future, that's what all that in our brain is for, is to utilize it from the present moment so that you can look back on, and that's what this book I'm reading now, The Power of Now, I've talked about it before, but I'm reading it again for the 5th time, and this time, finally, I am feeling what this book is actually saying. It's called The Power of Now, A Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment. It's by Eckhart Tolle, and it's a fucking amazing book. I read it 5 times because the first 4 I didn't understand it. And I'm probably going to read it every year from now on. Just because I heard somebody. I'm scared. Hold on. I hear somebody coming. Alright. I'm going to keep talking. I'm probably going to read it every year from now on, just because it's been so beneficial to me. And it's helped me so much because all the things I was on as a kid and the way I was raised and all the things that I had to think about at a young age, I could not find myself. There was way too much going on in my brain. There was way too much going on in my brain. And so we're going to sit on this bench and finish this out. There was too much going on in my brain for me to figure out. And so I'm glad that I found certain substances to help me. And that's why they need to be legalized and regulated, just like alcohol. So they're not tainted, they're not mixed with anything. You can go to a place, have the help you need, a therapist, somebody to give you certain substances like we have now. But with these psychedelic substances or marijuana or other things people need. And that's what's so empowering about being yourself, is nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can they could take your car, they could take your house, they can kill you, they could fucking do all kinds of shit to you. But they can't take the essence of who you are. That's what all these religious and spiritual teachings are pointing to, is that the power is within. It's literally within us, and it's in everything. Once you've identified that feeling and that power within you, you see it all around you. And you see that, holy shit, I'm the same as everything else. Because that's there's this quote from the Bible that's the flowers pay no attention to the morrow. And that means, and they have no anxiety for the morrow or something. Because they're in the present moment. Flowers they don't have the brain to think, oh, what's going to happen in 20 years? Oh, what's going to happen 2 decades from, what happened 2 years ago? They don't know, and they don't care. They're just here, right now. Nobody cares. That's what animals are. And then you take that idea that chemicals are what gave us that advantage, and you rewind that back, and you look at other animals that do the same thing. You get dolphins, monkeys, reindeer, other animals that may be they may be just as self-aware or even more self-aware than we are. Like dolphins, maybe they have, oh my God, they're probably so self-aware. They're moving through basically like space. Oh my God, bro. Dolphins have to be so self-aware. It's probably so much more self-aware than us. And locking them in those pools and shit is probably so depressed. That's probably why they get so depressed and shit. Oh my God, dude. That's wild. So I guess the point of this podcast is to just say, be you. And if you don't know who that is, figure it out. And all of the practicing and all of the education and all of the physical work, all of this is not for the mind to think about. It's for the soul. It's for the present moment. And doing things like not just substances, but meditation and exercise and just everyday practices like working. Everything that is a means to an end in your brain. Meaning that everything that is just, I need to get this done so I can get to this. Everything that is that, be fully in that moment. Don't reduce it to a means to an end. Just be in that moment as present as you can. Feel the bottom of your feet touching the ground. Feel the bottom of the sides of your arm touching your sides. Feel the air going in and out of your lungs. Feel the heart beating. Just listen to what's going on around you. Look at every individual texture and everything. Just be as fully immersed in this moment that you possibly can be. And I think that's the key. I think that's the key to happiness, key to success, whatever that means. And I just figured out today that success never meant to accomplish something. I looked it up while I was driving. To succeed used to mean to go or to come after. That's the Latin meaning. And we turned it into accomplish something. But if you look at this ideology from goddamn, there's somebody coming. That's wild. If you look at this ideology from like if you look at it from like a perspective of that you're not here to accomplish anything because the soul has everything it needs, then I think that there's no need to accomplish anything because there's people over there. I gotta whisper and be quiet. I'm gonna act like I'm pissing. There's a weird toilet in front of me. Look. It's a toilet. And I don't want these people to get me. So, there's nothing to accomplish. There's nothing to accomplish because we already accomplished everything. If you find yourself, if you find your soul, you've already accomplished everything. Then there's nothing to succeed. You've succeeded in our sense of the word. So I don't understand the word to succeed. The only reason we should be accomplishing anything is on this realm where, like, I accomplished the day at work. I accomplished becoming physically fit. I accomplished I don't want to say I accomplished enlightenment. I don't want to say that because that feels egoic and gross. But I think I have contacted enlightenment. What the fucking people are talking about as enlightenment, I think I found it. Because and I've been like weirded out by myself the past 3 days because the past 3 days, I'm like, is this weird? Like, am I losing my mind? Is something going on? But no, you don't lose your mind. You just become you and use your mind in the right way. And none of this makes sense to somebody who's in the identity form. Because that's what the ego is. It's something parading as us. It's the identity. Oh, I'm Cody Kiss. I was raised this place. I did this. I did that. That's my identity. That's my ego. And that's very real on this dimension. But if if Cody Kiss never existed, the essence of Cody Kiss would. And it would probably be somewhere else. That's what I'm saying. It's kind of crazy. We're basically like TVs. We receive consciousness or awareness or presence. And when that TV breaks, it looks like the consciousness or the signal disappears, but it's still there. It's still there. And it's always there. That's the liberating part. You can never lose it. Like, I was getting worried that I'd lose it. You can't lose this state of mind. And it's amazing, liberating, and beautiful state of mind to be in. And that's what I wanted to share with you guys. And I'm probably going to name this Presence or some shit. Or I'm going to name it Here. I'm going to name it Be Here Now. Or no, I'm going to put Now. I'm just going to put Now. Alright? That's where we need to be, right now. It's right in this moment. And to do this podcast, I kind of got to ignite my ego and think about the past things I've learned and do all that stuff. But I've just been immersed in this moment. And I want everybody to be able to be liberated and experience it. But I'm going to end this thing. I love you guys. I hope you have a great day, great week, great month, great whatever. I really do love you guys. Wherever you are, I love you. And you're amazing. And I want to see you do well. I know you have the potential to do successful things and be great. Goodbye.